So our first panel today is building 1% for the planet into your business DNA. So your purpose and giving are fully integrated. That's what we're focused on. So we're going to start with just some introductions from each of our panelists, and then I have a few questions. And we really do, this is the point in the day where you start talking too. So there will be opportunities in all of these speakers and panelists for you to ask questions. So keep that in mind. So we'll start with Steve, if that's all right with you, if you want to introduce yourself and just say a little bit about how your brand works.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Steve Savage, 1908 Brands. 1908 Brands started in 2010. 1908 Brands is a story that goes back to 1908, and it's not when the Cubs last won the World Series, up until this year. But it is, when we talk about DNA, the environmental movement has been in my family really since 1908. It's a story where my great-great-uncle donated the property, which is now the Muir Woods just outside San Francisco. My dad, big environmental activist, was instrumental in the new recycling center here in Boulder, and it's something that has always been passed on into my family. And so it's one of these things where when you have a can or a bottle, if you don't find a recycle bin, it's strange. And when it comes to 1908 Brands, we built into our culture being good, launching better products, changing industries, and so that's something that my team here is doing a great job of, and it's in our culture. And joining 1% for the Planet for us was a no-brainer. As soon as I met Pauline, immediately we're in. So it's something we're proud of, and later I'll talk about other reasons why we do it. So thank you.
Hi. Is this on? Okay, I can talk pretty loudly if it's not. My name is Haley Robison. I'm the CEO of Kamik. Has anybody here heard of Kamik? Thanks, Annie. We're an outdoor gear company out of Austin, Texas. And we design performance gear for elevated camping. So that includes things like performance hammocks, sleep systems, trail quilts, sleeping bags. We just launched our first ever tent, bug net shelters, everything to really elevate your outdoor adventure. Our founder, Greg, is here today, and Jason, who leads sales at Kamik. And 1% for the Planet has been part of our DNA since day one. I think when Greg had the vision to start Kamik after falling out of one in the middle of the night, that was poorly designed. For him, it wasn't a question that we wanted to bake this commitment into how we would steward our resources and our vision as a company from there forward. We've recently restructured our give. We partner with a local nonprofit in Austin whose aim is to get youth outside that otherwise wouldn't have the access to outdoor experiences. Our mission as a company is to sell outdoor products, and we want to do that really well. But our mission is to steward people to experiences outdoors, to get out of their comfort zone and to push them into a life full of community and things that they might not otherwise experience. And so with our products and with our give, we want to be integrated and holistically serving that mission.
I'm Jenny Casson. And my company, I'm actually a sole proprietor. My company is called Jenny Casson Consulting. That's my DBA. I also have another DBA, which is Lift Economy Law. So I have an affiliation with a really great organization called Lift Economy. And I'm based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I've been working as a sole proprietor for about 2 years. I'm an attorney and coach for social entrepreneurs that want to raise capital for their businesses in ways that really allow them to stay true to the mission of their business over the long term, and also stay in control of their business and do really creative capital raising strategies that really fit with what they want for their business and not have to go out and find an investor that becomes their boss.
Great. All right. So we chose these three companies for this panel just because they really have all integrated, as they said, in different ways, integrated an environmental purpose and 1% for the Planet into the brand. And it would be great to hear from you sort of what are some of the specific ways that you have done that. to make it really a deep part of sort of how you position your whole company?
Okay. Well, for us, it's easy. Our whole company philosophy and mission is to launch green products. So we have 8 brands under 1908 Brands. Our first one is Boulder Clean, and it's a plant-based cleaners and detergents. So every day I work with Carly. She's our Boulder Clean brand manager. How do we make it better? How do we make it greener? And to this day, we have a laundry detergent that tests better than Tide and is half the price. And so people don't have to sacrifice, cleaning and that sacrifice of buying a plant-based cleaner. So, every day we go to work, we try to make our products better. Our second brand, Compo Keeper, eliminates odor and fruit flies in kitchen composting. And then we have 6 food brands, and they're all kind of unique in their own markets. And that's just every day we go to work. How do we make these products either taste better or work better? Be healthier for the people that consume these products. And we see it every day. I mean, we look at competitors, we see the ingredients in their products, and our sole mission is to make our products better and eliminate high glucose corn syrup or soy protein isolates, which most people don't know. Cliff Bars have arsenic in it, and that's just not okay. So that's in our culture. We feel like we're activists every single day in our offices, and we love it, and our team is incredible, and we're all on the same page to change those industries.
I'll chime in. So at CAMIC, one of our core values our 3 core values are community, love, and adventure. And we say that we're for people. People have both caused a lot of environmental issues, and those of us in this room get to join together to solve and address some of those. And I think Shu Tezcott, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, really inspired me, again, sitting over there in the pew, for what we are doing at CAMIC, because like he said, and as many of us know, to care for something and to protect it, you have to know it, you have to love it, you have to experience it. So our mission as a business is to get people in the environment, connecting to the environment in really meaningful ways that we don't always get in today's world in climate-controlled boxes and ever-growing high-rise buildings. And so for the youth who are Give Impacts, statistically, youth today spend around 7 minutes a day of outside time or unstructured play. And we're working with our nonprofit to really confirm this statistic, but we're pretty confident that with every product purchased from CAMIC, we're at least able to fund 30 minutes of play outside for a youth, and that's not just play, but mentored play. And we believe that through their stories of life change through the outdoors, we're going to help equip that next generation to come along and impact and steward our environmental resources. We also think about the environment through our products. I personally never thought I would run a product business. I don't like to shop, and hopefully we all consume less. But I think we live in a world where we use products to do a lot of the things that we enjoy and love. I mean, using water bottle today, microphone, and food we eat. And so it's important that people in this room raise up to think about how do we design and create and sell products in a sustainable and thoughtful way. And so we work to have low waste in our production. We design totes from leftover hammock scraps, and we ask customers to send in products that they would like to recycle. And so while there's always an opportunity to do more, we try to be thoughtful at every point of our business and thinking about how we're both connecting people to the environment and caring for the environment when we can.
Do you want to respond to this one too?
Sure,
Jenny?
yeah.
Okay, great.
So for me, I kind of came to this, I think, in a little bit of a different way, and that is that I graduated from law school 22 years ago, and I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I did not want to go work at a big corporate law firm. Van Jones was a third-year law student when I was a first year, so that really, he was a total activist back then, so we were at the same law school, and he was always talking about, like, you don't need to go work for a big corporate law firm. So I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And lucky for me, I ended up going to work at a nonprofit that was very entrepreneurial. So very early on in the social enterprise movement, I was right in the center of that intersect between social good and business, because we started a bunch of businesses, and I just got really involved in the movement of social enterprise. So, I found every organization that was promoting that idea of social enterprise, and there have been, lucky for us, there's more and more all the time. And I have, I'm a B Corp. I'm a member of 1% for the Planet. I'm a member of American Sustainable Business Council. So for me, and my clients are all mission-driven businesses. So for me, it's just about everything that I can do, whether it's environmental, community, equity, anything I can do to contribute to all the ways that business can do good in the world. I want to be a part of that.
Great. So all of you clearly have a very strong environmental ethic built in. Can you talk a little bit about how 1% for the Planet and the act of giving, and Haley, you addressed this a little bit already, but how does the act of giving through 1% for the Planet, add to that? In what way has that either helped you connect to your customers differently or your employees, or what are the ways that give, that sort of reaching across the traditional boundaries, how has that shaped your business?
Okay. So the good news is in business today is being green is good. It's good for business. A little story. I'll talk about Toyota for a second and then come back to 1908 brands. But in 2000, Toyota was the 6th biggest car maker in the world. In 2002, they launched the Prius. In 2004, the Prius was the Motor Trend Car of the Year. And in 2006, Toyota was the #1 car maker in the world with a 6-month waiting list for the Prius and recorded $11.6 billion in record profits. So there's tons of examples, Whole Foods being the fastest growing retailer. So the good news is being green is good. And there's a lot of greenwashing, which is bad, but they're doing it for reasons that I'm super optimistic about, because I think customers do want to do the right thing. And if two products are identical, you have a green version of a plastic cup in my former world of eco products, then you have a PET cup and they're the same price, the performance is the same, then that customer, may it be Coke, Pepsi, Hilton Resorts, or the University of Colorado, they're going to make the right choice and they're going to buy the greener alternative. So as long as customer experience is there, the good news is, being green is good for business, and being 1% for the planet, having that emblem on the back of our packages at Costco and Kroger and other retailers, it's good for business because retailers do want to, the customers out there do want to do the right thing, and that's super optimistic. And so being 1% for the planet, it's great from an environmental perspective, and it makes us proud to work every day and develop products. But selfishly, it's good for business, and that's awesome. And we need to educate consumers more. But once they become educated through the 1% giving and all the nonprofits that we support, they're the ones out there educating and fighting the battles for us, and that's awesome.
Great. And Haley, do you have more to say? I know you talked a little bit about your giving already. Is there anything else you want to add about that?
With regards to environment, or just being 1%?
Just how giving and the 1% sort of adds an element to the environmental commitment you already have in your company.
There's
so
many ways to answer that question. I think it holds us accountable. I mean, for us, it's a floor, not a ceiling. I hope we can do so much more, but knowing just even last night, the energy and the relationships in this room, I think as we think about the issues systemically and the system behind it, we can work together to creatively solve things. And so we realize at CAMIC, we have one small piece of it, which is hopefully inspiring and connecting people to the outdoors so that they have it's about relationship, both here and to the environment. And so we are in the business of creating relationship, and then from there, how do we educate those customers to then have inspiration that moves to action? So I think even just the awareness, it starts within the walls of our company. I know for our team, to be 1% for the Planet members, that's a constant reminder of the why for us. I think it's also a really great just line to lead with when you're talking to investors or stakeholders or vendors, and you can say, this is our commitment, this is why, it's a non-negotiable. And for us, it hopefully only ever increases. I was actually, we were talking to Airstream yesterday or last week about a partnership, and we had sent out a newsletter with our Oath of Action commitment as a business, which was inspired by your team. And that is what had said, wow, this company not only makes the best products that are high performance and offers lifetime warranty, but they also do this. That's really cool. And it inspired him to check out 1% and think about, what is Airstream doing for the environment? And so I think there's a ripple effect from these small seeds that we get to plant in our business, being a 9-person company in Austin, Texas, that hopefully has a ripple effect beyond what we're doing.
Great.
How many people here, raise your hand if you're turned off by woo-woo stuff? Oh, cool. Only one or two. Yay. Boulder is a lot like the Bay Area and San Francisco, I guess. So I want to just tell a story of how I got into this. It's kind of woo-woo. And I was, I'm a very left-brain person. My dad's an engineer. But living in the Bay Area, you start to get more woo-woo as time goes on. So anyway, I was in this coaching program, and I joined it because it was supposed to help me get better at sales and marketing. But the teacher, the coach, was pretty woo-woo. And she said that she believed that she had a practice of taking 10% of everything that came in, so 10% of gross, and giving it to causes that inspired her. And she said she felt like that really benefited her business because she felt like if you try to hold on to money too tightly, it doesn't flow to you as easily. And I know that's really woo-woo. But anyway, she gave us a book that kind of advocated that. It's a book by this woman named Edwene Gaines. And for some reason, she talked about it for a while. And one day I was just like, damn it, I'm going to do it. 10% of everything that comes in, even though, it was like it was scary. That's a lot. And you never know. And I am, I don't have inventory. I'm a consulting and legal business, so it's a little easier for me. But anyway, so that's what I started doing, and I actually have found that it really does feel good, and I feel like I have a better attitude about money now. I'm a little bit more relaxed about money. I was raised by someone who was very frugal. I feel like I just feel more calm about the whole idea that money will come. So anyway, that's my woo-woo story. And so I thought, oh my gosh, 1% for the planet is such a good fit for that because it's about a percentage of gross. So, why not include that in my 10%? Also, another thing I wanted to mention is no one has talked about raising capital for your business from investors. And I think making a commitment to 1% for the planet is a really important thing. And it's a big decision because there are investors out there that if they find out you're putting 1% of your gross towards donations, they'll be like, no way. We want to first dibs on your gross. So I was talking to the founder and CEO of Mama Chia, Janie Hoffman, and she was saying that that's really helped her. That commitment to 1% for the planet has really helped her turn off the wrong investors, so she doesn't even have to waste time with them. They won't even talk to her because they know that because of that commitment, it's not a good fit for her. So it saved her a ton of time. And she's found amazing investors that totally support her mission.
That's a great story. Thank you. And how about challenges? What are, of being purpose-driven and of giving? What are some of the challenges that you have faced in doing that? And we don't have to always start with you, Steve.
I'll break it up. This is an interesting question. I think every business at its core has a purpose. It just depends what purpose that is. I think some of the challenges at CAMIC for me, and as in the role as CEO of how do we steward resources, we are serving multiple aims. I want our business to be profitable, to be an excellently run business that has an ever-increasing capacity to give. I think a lot of when we are oriented, our mission is made possible by the success of our business. And it's like you don't breathe to, what is it? You don't live to breathe, but you have to have breath to live. It's like the why behind our business is not that we would have profit, but we have to have profit to then go and pursue this mission and grow our platform at CAMIC. And so I think sometimes the challenge is just realizing we could always do more. On the product side, do we want to get all our fabrics blue signed appealed and our blue signed approved? And there's just so many things that you think, oh, this could make us even more environmentally sustainable, but it's figuring out what's the best that we can do with what we have right now and how do we steward our resources to keep this thing growing. And so I think some of the challenges are just those trade-offs that come and recognizing where to put resources and how to align the team towards whether it's the mission part or the profit part, knowing that they're very inextricably linked.
Great, thanks. Steve or Jenny, do you want to take a crack at that one?
Yeah, I mean, at first, there really comes to mind there aren't any challenges other than trying to determine, which of the great nonprofits do we donate to. With our 8 brands, we try to focus in on specific nonprofits that have a relatable story to our brands. But I'll tell you, it eliminated one big challenge because we get approached every day from various nonprofits, and we basically say if you're not a 1% nonprofit, it's a great cause, but unfortunately we can't donate. So it gives us a great excuse on a number of the asks that we get. So it eliminates actually one big challenge.
So one takeaway is that 1% for the planet turns off investors and helps you say no to nonprofits. So right on.
We actually this past year worked with our team at 1% to help one of our nonprofits that we were really excited to work with become a 1% for the planet partner. So I know it's a slightly different story, but we were spreading our dollars far and wide. We were donating to Africa. Our company has a really great giving story, but as we thought, how do we be really missional and start where we're at? And when we look at the city of Austin, Texas, and we look at the students who are not getting outdoors and need to be served and need to have mentors, we thought there's an opportunity as a small business to have a local impact. And so we made a pretty radical decision to focus our dollars really on supporting 2 20-person student teams over the course of 6 years through a leadership program together. And so this year, our 1% supports 40 students in our neighborhood. And for us, that's an incredibly compelling thing. Jason and I were just talking about how that encourages us as a team to be able to have those relationships and do local happy hours where it's a $5 donation and that goes to our nonprofit. And so for us, having a local nonprofit partner, I guess hasn't so much been a challenge, but just that decision of who do we donate to, knowing that there's so much need. But for us, we want to go deep to go wide, and we want to have really deep relational impact in the lives of students who we then believe will go out and hopefully do incredible things in this world. So that's a little bit about our program. Explore Austin is such an incredible organization. They partner with students for 6 years, and mentors make an enduring commitment to walk with those students for 6 years. They get together one Saturday a month to do an outdoor challenge together. So these students get to go rock climbing and paddling and hiking. And then every summer they do a week-long expedition together for 6 years. I mean, that's radical for us today, because time, I think in our very transient, fast-paced, screen-bound world, time for us is our most precious resource. And when we think about really dedicating time to students, that's what gets us fired up. I went a little bit of a tangent.
That's okay, and I'm actually going to ask you a follow-up question on that. How do you, and then this will come to you guys too, how do you tell that story? So how do you make that story part of the story of CAMIC?
I'd love y'all's help today. We've been talking about this. We say buy CAMIC, give adventure. I think giving adventure, depending on where you're coming from, could mean a number of different things. It's possibly too vague. If you go to our website, we have a mission and give page I am Haley at Kamick.com. I welcome constructive feedback at all times. We're working on how do we tell that story to really resonate, and so we don't yet have this on our website, but that concept of time. So this product equates to this much time in the outdoors, or collectively as a community over the course of our history as an organization, there have been 10,000 hours outdoors, mentored time outdoors that students might not have otherwise had. So we're trying to find ways. There's so much depth and nuance to this story, and I mean, ultimately, the power of story in business is incredible. We're all storytellers in every single role that we have. And so how do we at Kamick tell a story about both our products and our give in a way that our customers can feel a part of and be inspired to then go steward their time and resources to students where they live? So it's a work in progress. And we started with Give by Kamick, Give Adventure, and now we're working to be more specific about what giving adventure actually means and how people can connect to our mission as customers.
Great, awesome. So good ask for everyone's brain power. How about either of you? Like, how do you tell the story of the giving choices and actions that you take?
Well, it's one reason why the event is here. We want to hear more about this. It is definitely a work in progress. We try through social media, and our websites, through our products, but we're just getting started, and it's a great question, and we're here to learn about it as well. But we're doing what we can through our social media mostly, and hopefully our nonprofit partners are helping to share the stories as well.
Great.
And I'll add one thing. We're wanting to be creators and curators of story. So it is both the story that we are putting out in the world, but also what stories are we shaping and enabling, and how can we as an organization be a place to collect and share those stories. We had thought about one of our goals personally that we might not market externally, as we would hope to collect over 1 million stories of lives changed through our products or our give, people who have had experiences in the outdoors that they said, wow, this moment really changed me or shaped my trajectory or gave me a new perspective on the place that I'm from. And so for us, it's not just the story that we're telling, but also what stories are we listening to, and how do we as a team use the stories that we're hearing as a way of measuring our success as a company and organization.
Great. Jenny, is there something you wanted to add on that? Or you don't have to, it's okay. All right, great. One story that comes to mind for me, Neil Gottlieb from, are you here? I talked to you last night. Three Twins Ice Cream. Has a great story of their branding, which I'll just share, in terms of how they position 1% for the planet and their giving on their packaging, which actually inspired a donor to reach out to the recipient. So they have the logo, but then they also, they have the space on their ice cream packaging to say how each purchase contributes to saving acres in the rainforest. And an ice cream eater was eating ice cream and saw that and saw the information, reached out to Three Twins, was able to learn about who the donor was. I spoke with the nonprofit just this week, and he told me that he got a call from this donor who it will turn out to be probably a pretty significant donor for them, and it was through that ice cream packaging. So, that was an interesting, and not everyone has that much sort of packaging real estate to, make all of those connections, but, it's interesting to think about in terms of both the brand value for the company, but also the inspiration for consumers to take even further steps. So just a quick story to share there. We have about 10 more minutes for this group. Are there any other things that you would want to talk about before I open it up for questions? Anything that you haven't said that you would like to share? All right, how about questions from you?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm curious what questions we can answer, how we might be helpful to everyone sitting in this room, because everyone, yes.
Do you have any stories about how this sense of purpose has affected your teams and your employees and the people that you're close to? Like, what sort of things have they said about what this means to them?
Anyone on my team want to answer that question?
Yeah, sure. I think, so I'm Jason, I run sales at Kamick. I think just kind of in general for our team purpose and drive to go after creating new revenue and more sales and into the company, right? And like, why are we growing this give? And especially the give is so localized to people that we know we're able to interact with, right? It just creates more drive behind us. Haley and I were talking about this yesterday, just like we're able to have happy hours with this group, and we're able to really kind of have these personal connections with our nonprofit partner, which I think so much of us are like so driven towards giving. How can we give more? How can we give more? And it's really great to be able to use our business as a platform to give more and not just think about business as like growing, money, but actually change because of this money that we've been able to bring in.
Great.
If anyone wants to add anything, you can actually go up and grab like a microphone, so because you want to record it. You're welcome.
All right, so I have the mic. And you had a question back there?
Yeah. For all of you guys, I guess. I'm really just curious about, 1% is such a good, thing to have on the team. It's really, it's a great outlet for you guys to be able to give. I'm wondering if you track or have noticed any kind of increase or any effect on sales and what that's looked like for you and how it factors in.
I have a quick answer. So we're still, my hope is that for us, it is, we want to be a growing product business because our product speaks for itself, but that the customer can say, wow, this too. And so I think some customers will write in and say, hey, I really support you because of your give and because of your 1% commitment. But ultimately, it's the product performance that's going to keep us in business. We just found out this week that we're going to be opening our hammock, which is our flagship product, in 10 Patagonia stores across the country. We're pumped. That's huge for us. And so I think potentially not from a direct-to-consumer side, but we are now able to partner with other 1% Planet businesses, Patagonia being the inspiration behind this organization, and they're saying, hey, we're going to support your growth. We're going to support telling your brand story in the world because we believe in what you're doing. And so we're getting purchase orders from Patagonia, so we're increasing dollars, and that's because of our 1% for the Planet commitment, but also because of the integrity of our product, and we couldn't be more excited about that. So that's a big thanks to Greg and Jason for making that happen. But I think a lot of good things in store for us, and I hope to have an even stronger answer to that next year.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy. We have a laundry detergent in Costco, and then every once in a while we rotate our 1% for the Planet logo on top of the cap that is on top of the laundry detergent. And you would hope that all of a sudden you see a 8% increase in sales, but we're constantly rotating a message on that cap. It's usually an environmental message, either the fact that we're a B Corp or we won the EPA Safer Choice Partner of the Year. These are different EPA or different environmental messages. So I do know that our products continue to increase in sales, and I think it's a lot because, the customer satisfaction, the environmental messaging. And, I mentioned to someone last word, I think one of the most powerful words in our vocabulary is trust. 1% is all about trust. You walk into Whole Foods and you trust that these products, they've done their research, non-GMO, et cetera. So trust, you go into Patagonia, you have trust in those products. So I think that's one of the strongest things. And if you have a 1% culture, consumers trust your products.
And we're definitely always trying to equip our members with the kinds of data and stories that you need. So it's great to hear some of these stories. One quick example I can share that might be useful, and we certainly welcome, please share your stories with us, is from Finlandia Vodka, who's one of our companies, and they did a very targeted point of sale giving project in New York and Baltimore, focused on giving back to restore oyster beds in New York Harbor and Chesapeake Bay, and they tied it to sort of selling vodka at oyster bars. And so it's a very sort of targeted thing that they did in just those two markets. And during that time, they were able to track a 7% increase in sales in those particular markets, at the time of those activations, relative to a 2% decline in some other comparable markets at that same time. So it's often hard, for the reasons that you're saying, to have a specific 1% for the planet led to this increase of sales, because it's often sort of part of a larger story, and it's an important part, but it's not the only part. But in this case, we did have that sort of particular comparative data. But we're always, again, please keep those kinds of questions coming, because it's really helpful for us to hear sort of what you're looking for to help you, be able to position your 1% for the planet story in the world. We have time for Jenny to say.
Yeah, I just want to say, I can't do a split test, but I found that the more I give, the more comes in, and who knows why that is, but it feels good.
Mm-hmm. That's great. We do have time, for another question and maybe one other.
Yeah, so it seems like being part of 1%, it gives you a marketing advantage. It's like your SKU, that differentiates you from other competitors, right? But at the same time, we want other people to join the network. Well, what happens when we get other people within the same market joining the 1%, joining the network? Like, how do you see yourself skewing your marketing then when you have more people, giving back?
I love that question. I don't think it can be our only differentiator for that reason, because we only want to grow. My hope is that every business in the outdoor industry gives 1%, and then we're differentiated on how our story is integrated, how our give integrates, how we holistically as a business steward our resources and design our products. And so that's for that reason I think 1%, while it is an important aspect, like it's a feature of Kamiq, it's not the only differentiator. So I think that's an important question, because I was actually just thinking to myself before you asked that question, what if our largest competitors were 1%? I was like, that'd actually be a really great thing, and we would still work to design the best product and tell a story in the market in terms of why we're different and why that matters to consumers that would still compel them to purchase and participate in what we're building. So it's a great question. I think that would be my first thought.
That's a great answer.
As Kate mentioned, it's just part of the story. I mean, your products and the customer experience with your products are more important. I mean, if your products, they need to be competitively priced, they need to perform against its competitors. So the products need to, walk the talk, and then the environmental message is just part of it. So if our competitors join 1% for the planet, that's great. We just need to do our jobs better.
And one of the things that we think about at 1% for the planet as a team is, one of our visions is that it becomes a fundamental way of doing business. That to not be part of 1% for the planet would really sort of be like it wasn't good business practices, because it really is the sort of credibility of making investment in sustaining the planet that sustains the economy, and really all businesses should be doing that. So, and then it's differentiated by the way you do your giving, the story you tell as it relates to who you are. But it is a great thing to think about, and to think about then how to use it to the best advantage for your company. Paul, I think we have time for one more quick question.
I had a quick question for Jenny.
All right, and we'll get one of these questions on,
My name is Paul, and I do photography in Portland. And my question's for Jenny, because you provide a service also. And I'm curious how evident your message is, or your identification with 1% is on your website or any of your marketing, and how people respond to that.
Yeah, so I have a bunch of logos on my website: B Corp, ASBC, Social Venture Network, 1% for the Planet. So, I've been so in the world of social enterprise for so long that I'm kind of, people know that that's who I am, and so 1% is just part of it. But in everything I do, in every talk I give or blog post I write or anything on my website, I always am talking about mission and changing the world for good. So I think it's a really important part of it.
Great, and we'll have some other opportunities with other panelists also to talk about that sort of product, service, how to tell the story differently. So it's a great question. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, for your wisdom and your engagement. I really appreciate it.